G'day everyone. Before we hop into today's vlog, I just want to remind you to please hit that subscribe button. From now on, I'm going to be putting out daily online poker vlogs. We're going to be tracking my process as I play these 6 max online poker cash games, 6 out of 7 days of the week. Make sure you hit subscribe so you get the vlogs as they come out. But for now, onto the vlog. G'day everyone, welcome back to the vlog. It's currently about 5:15 a.m. here in Melbourne, and as you can tell, finally did wake up on time. Took me a few days to get back onto the proper sleep schedule, but I do finally wake up at a time I am very happy with. So gonna have plenty of time today to get in my 1,500 hands of online poker. Obviously we still are in a bit of a downswing after having moved up to 2.5, but we're going to push through for at least one more day of full-time 2.5. We'll get into the vlog later in terms of what we're going to do moving forward from here, whether we're going to keep playing 2.5 or go back down to 1.2. For now though, I need a feed. Let's go. About 6 a.m. at the moment, and I've just finished up my full feed. That breakfast was delicious. That's an A-grade breakfast, but I'm ready to go play some poker now that I'm fully fed. I slept really well last night too, so I'm well rested, fully fed, so I really don't feel like there's anything physiologically wrong with me that should keep me from playing my game today. Obviously haven't played my A-grade game for a full day since I did move up in stakes, but yesterday morning I did play really well and I was really satisfied with my gameplay, so I know I'm capable. Just going to make sure I do the same thing today, practicing the self-talk, making sure I make logical responses to my opponent's strategies. In addition, I think today I'm just going to stick to the 4 tables. I know at some point I'll feel like things are moving a bit slow and that I'm definitely capable of pushing myself and mixing in a 5th table, but I really do think it'll be a mistake to do so. I think I need to stick to the 4, and even if it does feel slow, that's fine because it just means I won't burn out as quick and I'll be able to play my A-grade for longer and get in the 1,500 hands. So without any further ado, let's get in the game. Welcome back everyone. It is currently 4:45 in the afternoon here in Melbourne, and I've just wrapped up my 3rd poker session for the day. Was actually on track to only play 2 sessions today, but my 2nd session was cut abruptly short when there was a power outage to half of my apartment. Elizabeth and I were sort of running around trying to figure out what the issue was. Turns out there was an issue with our dishwasher. It sort of cut out halfway through and it forced the safety switch off in our power box. So we had to turn off the dishwasher, hand wash all the dishes that were already in there. So obviously that ate up a bit of time. Then I went to look at how many hands I played and it was 1,474. So I'm like, oh, all right. Ended up playing an extra 20 minutes, bringing my total hours for the day up to 5 hours and 53 minutes, and my hand total to 1,546. So very happy that I did put in the extra 20 minutes just to make sure I did hit my daily goal. So obviously I'm pretty stoked about that. Something else I'm stoked about today are the results. Feels good to say that, I haven't said that in a minute, but I did end up winning 1,849 on today's session, which is actually the biggest winning session I've ever had on the Day-Leigh vlog. So obviously I'm stoked with that. It did come right at the end of a downswing of a week for me, and obviously it couldn't have come at a better time. Absolutely stoked with that result. In terms of my gameplay grade from today's session, the results might reflect it because I'm going to give myself an A today. Literally the first hand when I sat down at my first table today, I was in the big blind with ace king. I end up getting it all in with the small blind. They have ace queen and they flop a queen. I get stacked literally the first hand. And I remember thinking at that time, I'm like, this is a really good opportunity for you to just not care about this bad beat at all and focus, continue to play your best. And if you climb your way back from here and you do play really well, you really will earn a high grade for yourself. And that's what I did. I really made sure to focus, not care that I was, running bad in that one particular hand. I think in the past few days, I did let instances like that really get to me and I started playing overly aggressive. But
because it happened so soon, I was really still had my wits about me in the morning, and I was like, okay, don't let it affect you. You don't have to win every pot. You just have to make the best EV decisions, and definitely calm me down with the over aggression. And I think the results from today really speak to that. I used that to my advantage and played very good poker. So absolutely stoked with my gameplay today. That's why I get the A. So beyond the fact that I did have really good results today, I actually think today was the best that I have played all week. I really was key in and paying attention. And I think a large reason for that was because I only played 4 tables, and I really did remember previous hands with villains a lot easier than I do when I have 5 tables open. And I think this next hand is a good example of how that can pay off when you really are dialed into what your opponents are doing. Let's get in the hand. So the action's on a loose aggressive middle position player. They go ahead and open it up to 12. The action folds to me in the big blind with pocket 3s. I think with pocket 3 specifically, I do have a very easy call. I still want to make note though, against a loose aggressive middle position, it's probably a good idea to mix in a lot of 3 bets to try and attack the fact that they were opening a really wide range, but pocket 3s is a slam dunk call in my opinion. That's what I do. And then we go heads up to a flop, which is an absolute banger. King 6-3 rainbow. So we do hit our set, love and life. Still going to go ahead and check it naturally to the pre-flop aggressor. Then they go ahead and bet 11. The action comes back to me here, and I think there is a pretty interesting decision on this street, whether I want to check raise or not. The reason I would like calling is because I actually think my opponent still has a pretty wide range here, and they're going to fold a lot to a check raise. If I had a hand like 6-5 as a semi-bluff, or maybe like an ace high with a backdoor flush draw, I think this would be a really good spot to check raise those. Try and get my opponent off a hand like a Jack 10 offsuit or 8-6 suited, something like that. Having said that though, if this is a good spot to bluff, I really should be mixing in some value hands into my range, just in case my read is wrong and my opponent does decide to call down light. I do want to have some strong hands that I can get paid off with. Pocket 3s feels like a great hand to put in that range, so I do decide to go ahead and check raise it to 35. And then I get some good news. The middle position player calls. So we are heads up to a turn, which is the ace of hearts. Now, I think on this street, there's actually a really interesting decision point. My initial gut reaction to the situation is, well, I should definitely bet right. I have a set. I want to build a pot. Let's go. But then I sit on it a bit and I start to think, against this specific type of opponent who is very aggressive, I actually think it's a better move to just check here for 2 reasons. One, I actually think my opponent does have a lot of ace-x hands in their range that are going to defend to a check raise on the flop. And obviously a loose aggressive opponent's going to go ahead and try and bet top pair to get paid off with their loose image. But the second reason I really like checking here is if my opponent did make some really loose float on the flop with like a Queen Jack or something like that, 100 out of 100 times they're going to bluff this turn card. Obviously it looks like they can have a bunch of ace high hands in their range on the flop, and they have, all the nut hands like ace king, for example, pocket aces, which they're going to try and represent with a bluff. So I really think this is actually a good spot to go ahead and check it over to them. And that's what I do. I was keyed in, I saw what this opponent was doing, and I think this is a really good spot to go ahead and induce a bet from a worse hand. And then I get more good news. My opponent goes ahead and bets 95. Whew. Obviously, I'm loving life when my opponent bets this big and I have a set. But now I think I have another pretty interesting decision, whether I want to try and check raise or whether I want to just call. The reasons I would like check raising here are basically to stack my opponent when they do have ace king or they want a hero call with one of their ace hands. Having said that though, when my opponent bets this large, I think checking's a better option though, and it's just because when my opponent does bet this size, I think it's very likely that they are bluffing, to be honest. If they did float with Queen Jack, Jack 10, something like that, backdoor hearts as well, then I want to just call here to induce a bluff on the river. Because like I said on the flop, I think a check raise here is actually going to induce a lot of folds, and obviously I don't want them folding when I do have a set here, so I decide to call to just trap, and we're heads up to the river, which is the ace of spades. Not the best river card in the world, because now we do lose to ace king or ace 6 suited, something like that. So I go ahead and check it to my opponent, and then they rip it all in. And whilst I am a little concerned, I'm definitely not going to fold my full house here. I do throw in the call, and then my opponent shows 9-7 of hearts. So I was so happy to see that hand, because like I said, when my opponent did float with some absolute chunk on the flop, they sort of had to bluff with it when they turned backdoor hearts. And on this river, of course, they're going to keep going at it. So Absolutely stoked to pull in this one and really happy with my line, because I think if I took a different line with this hand, the pot's not going to be as big as it was. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but after I've been playing so poorly the past few days, it really feels good to win a stack playing a hand like this. So absolutely over the moon with how I played this hand. If you disagree though, please hop in the comments below and let me know. Obviously, there's a lot of really interesting decision points over the course of this hand. I think the main one I am interested in is on the turn, whether you like continuing to bet with the set or whether you do like the decision to check and induce a bet from a worse hand. I think it's a very interesting decision and there's a lot of merit to playing it both ways. Hop in the comments below, let me know what you think of that. Now, before we wrap up the vlog today, I think it's time to check in on how my results are from playing 2-5. The reason I'm laughing is because they're not going to be good with the recent downswing, but you guys know I do value transparency as a poker player, and I want to give you guys an idea of what my win rate is like. So without any further ado, let's get to the Excel spreadsheet. All right, everyone, welcome back to my Excel spreadsheet where I do track all the results of my poker sessions throughout the Day-Leigh vlog. As you can see here, we've specifically opened a new tab just to track my results as I moved up to 2-5. And as you can also see here, the results haven't been that great. Obviously, have had a downswing this week, a bit of awkwardness adjusting to the new game. Obviously, a bunch of bad results from the sessions as well. Was happy to get the A grade in today, but previous to that, it hadn't been going so well. Got a total of 9,300 hands, which I'm pretty happy with. Now onto the things I'm not so happy with. I did lose 4,991.2 across the session, which equates to about a loss of 144 per hour played. Yuck, that's pretty gross. And the big blind per 100, negative 53, which is the worst win rate I've actually ever seen. Definitely the worst win rate I've ever recorded across any game ever. Obviously, there's a bit of awkwardness at this new 2-5 level, and to be 100% honest, I don't really think I'm ready to make this my main game yet. Obviously, 9,000 hands is a pretty small sample size, but we'll talk about this in a minute, but I think I'm probably better off just sticking to 1-2 for the moment. More on that now. So there you have it. Obviously not the best results in the world. Definitely not as good as my win rate was at the 1-2 game. I think going forward, obviously tomorrow is my midweek weekend and I'm going to take Wednesday off, but when I do come back to the game on Thursday, I think I'm going to have to tuck my tails between my legs and go back down to 1-2. Whilst I do think I can beat 2-5 when I'm on my A game and I'm focused, I think it's pretty unrealistic for myself to expect to do that every single day reliably, which is unfortunate, but I just can't afford to be put on tilt and just blasting stacks away at the high stake game. Particularly when I was making so much progress at 1-2, I really felt like my win rate was rising and I was only getting better and better at that game. So I really do feel like I have a lot of unfinished business at the 1-2 level and I can increase my win rate there before I need to worry about moving up to 2-5 again. I do think I'll occasionally mix in the 2-5 table when I am feeling my best, but from now on, I'm going to go back to being a 1-2 reg and grinding that game full time until I get really good win rates at that level and I'm feeling much more confident and ready to move up to the 2-5 game again. That's going to wrap up the vlog for today. Thank you so much for watching as always. I really appreciate you sticking to the end of the video. That really helps out the channel, believe it or not. Also, something else that helps the channel is hitting the subscribe button. If you haven't already, go on, hit it. Get these daily vlogs as they come out. And to everyone who's already hit it, thank you. You're the best. For now, I'm out of here. Peace.